What's going on, you guys, and welcome back to another episode of Chasing Iowa Outdoors. I want to say a quick apology for Zach and I's delay on getting around the podcast. We have been extremely busy with changing jobs as well as moving. We both have moved, and I have taken a new job or two since the spring. So it's been a fairly interesting time for us. But I wanted to say a quick thank you to everybody for tuning into the podcast, as well as all the subscribers here on the channel. It's awesome to see this channel grow, and we're going to continue to go up. But what's going to happen is we're going to start uploading the podcast onto the channel. So hopefully you guys are enjoying that. You can also find our podcast on Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts. We're pretty much on everything now. So if you guys are interested in listening to the podcast as you're out and about and you don't want to watch the full video on everything, there's an option to do that as well. So be sure to check out the HF&O podcast and enjoy this session.
Welcome back, everybody. My name is Zach. I'm here with my co-host, Colton Bradley. It has been quite a while since we have recorded an episode of HF&O podcast, but we are back. We did promise duck content. We've been a little bit lacking in that department, so we've got some catching up to do, to say the least, but we should have a pretty good episode panned out for you here. We've had some developments for sure, especially on Colton's end, but we'll get you caught up first on what's been going on here in our part of the world, in the duck hunting world. And then Colton's got some pretty good stories to tell you, I think. So
I haven't even been out duck hunting. What are you talking about?
That's not what I saw. That was looking good.
Well, let's start off at the top. Teal season. How'd teal season go for you?
Teal season was booger for me. But usually, I never really have a great teal season. Like I said, I'm always like a beat behind on teal. Like it's just, they were here yesterday. Is always like, that's my teal hunt. So I did not have a great teal season. I only went one time because we did go up to that Northeast Iowa trip that I was talking about on earlier episodes. We finally did that over Labor Day weekend. So that was half my teal season, was up there trout fishing and scouting around and stuff. So
that looked like it was a good time, though.
Oh, such a good time. Yeah, it was a blast. I can't wait to do it again. We're going to do, I think we're going to try and do a turkey camp up there in the spring.
Nice. Well, that'll be cool.
You should come along with us.
I have weekends off, so it might be a possibility now.
I know.
We had a decent teal season on our end. The first day we camped out on the marsh. That was a great time. And some guys busted up the roost at about 5 o'clock in the morning. And we only shot one teal that day, so that was fun. Good old public marshes. And then on the second day, we went out and we had a good shoot. We shot 23 teal, I believe, is what we ended at, just shy of a four-man limit that morning. And we got on them pretty good. So at least it was something better than what we did last year. Last year we had a pretty good start, but had an even better start this year.
Yeah, 23. What did you guys have? 4 guys?
Yep, we had 4 guys.
Rounded out limit. Yeah, that's a super good hunt. I mean, that's hard to complain about. And there's good teal habitat this year because everything is mud flats, like just what teal like. So
that's the terrible part about it. We go from tons of water to no water, and now everything is a mud flat. So birds can sit out there, but they're a pain in the butt to get out and actually hunt them.
Dude, I was scouting today. I found so many stinking ducks today, but I'm just like, well, they're out there. That's going to be like walking through quick, dry cement to get through.
Yeah.
To try and get on them, and there's nothing to hide. But there's a lot of birds around, and there was a lot of teal around for teal season. That was something I hadn't seen the last couple of years. There was lots of birds around.
Yeah, we had that nice front push in kind of early there, and it pushed in a lot of birds. I mean, there was not a lack of birds around. I know we hunted some river water, and the amount of birds that we saw just on the river for teal was insane. I mean, we were out goose hunting, obviously, but it was nuts.
Yeah, there was a lot. I don't know if I've ever seen that many teal around during teal season. Like there was a lot of blue wings here. I only did the one teal hunt, and it was kind of like they were here a few days ago when I scouted it, and then they weren't when we hunted it. So that was just kind of how my teal season went. But
That's kind of like how our duck opener went.
I know we'd both found, so we had teal season, and then there's the South Zone early duck opener. Yeah, Colton and I actually hunted that together with some other friends too, and we did that out of layout blinds, which is really, that's not a bad way to have to hunt it this year. I think is doing layouts.
No, between layouts and A-frames, there'll be a lot of that.
Yeah. But we did that. We did the early season together, and we both scouted the same area and found the same birds. So we kind of tag teamed up, and there was a bunch of birds there like the day before we hunted it.
Yeah,
I don't know where they went. They weren't moving when we hunted it.
I don't know. Typically, when you have fronts, you're hoping for new birds, and ours pushed out all the old birds that were there that we had scouted and did not bring any new birds in. So I don't even know, what did we shoot? Two, three,
two or three teal green wings. Yep,
it was terrible.
It was really rough. And that's the thing with, I feel like Central Iowa cold fronts do that. You get really excited as a duck hunter. It's like, oh yeah, northwest winds, here we go, weather front, and then it just kind of pushes the locals out.
Yeah.
But
I had one really good hunt last year that it was a front day, and I can remember, I mean, it was a lot of green wing teal. There were a lot of gaddies and some mallards in there, but I shot the crap out of green wing teal. I'm not a mallard purist by any means. It's fun to shoot mallards, but if I have anything come in, it's gonna get the hammer at least shot at it. I'm not shooting very well this year, though. I need to fix that.
Yeah, my shooting, well, I don't have a big sample size, but so far it's been pretty all right compared to how it had been. Like, if you've been following my channel for some time, when I first started recording, I was in a pretty big shooting slump, and I've slowly gotten better since then. But so far this year, it's not been horrible.
I'm in a slump this year for sure. I mean, I started off absolutely terrible, worked my way up a little bit, and then just hit the sack again. And I could really tell this past week. I finally started to get it underneath my belt. I struggle so much with getting so excited when birds come in. I just pull up and shoot. I need to aim a little bit more. So it's pretty funny. I mean, I just posted one of my videos, and you can tell. I mean, I left some stuff out, but there was one day I shot really, really well on a duck hunt, and that was about it.
Yeah, I actually still need to watch that video. I'm pretty excited to see it.
Yeah.
So,
have you done any goose hunting around here?
Not yet. This year I'm admittedly kind of taking a little bit of a back seat with the waterfowl hunting, just because some of it's water conditions, some of it's I was busy with work, and so I just feel like I'm a step behind on waterfowl this year, and then just kind of getting my acreage set up how I want it. Been a little bit busier, so I'm going to emphasize more like squirrel and deer this year. I'm going to get plenty of waterfowl hunts, and don't get me wrong, but it just won't be quite like the last several years.
It really doesn't even feel like waterfowl season's here. But we're almost at the end of October already.
Like, I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels that way. Like, I was thinking that. I'm like, usually August, all August long, I'm like, oh my God, I cannot wait for opening, teal opening. And then this year it's been like, oh, it's teal opener. Okay. Yeah. All right. Now it's early season. And now it's, October 21st. And
I mean, it's the second week of South Zone duck, I think, this week.
This weekend will be the second weekend of it. Yeah.
That freaking blows my mind. I mean, I don't know. I am so thrown off this year by everything. I mean, I didn't teal hunt a lot. I teal hunted 2 days. We goose hunted 2 or 3 days in there with that. And then, I mean, we just had a big trip. That was fun, but it really messes with your, even COVID too. I think the whole year's just been a big kibosh.
Yeah, it's been brutal. Yeah, I don't know why, but just COVID being around and like just all the different changes does kind of throw off like your mental clock a little bit.
Yeah,
for hunting season. That plus I know we've both been busy with either work, job changes, moving. I don't know, like. So it's been crazy. But hopefully next year I'm going to get myself set up here, like get everything set up at my new place, to the point where I'm going to be ready to roll next year.
Yeah.
And hopefully we have some water. Like I moved, for those that don't know, like I moved to a place that has quite a few marshes around, including one that I can walk out my front door to if I wanted to carry decoys that far. I can see it from my back porch. So I was really excited to be like, oh, I'm going to be able to live in, be living right next to all these duck hunting spots. And then most of them dried up with the drought.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
It's just been a goofy year. Hopefully 21 will be better, but we're gonna grind it out through 20 for sure, because it's not like we can get our time back on it.
I mean, and we can't even run like Diddy pools right now. We talked
Mm-mm.
about doing a big, fall kickoff with hunting and Diddy pulls, and I mean, you couldn't even freaking float a boat down the river if you tried to right now. We're so freaking dry.
No, I mean, maybe a kayak, but
Yeah,
no, there's no way. There's not a bank to pound poles into.
yeah,
I
yeah.
would like to do that sometime. Do a big fall camp. Um, we thought about, like, we've done it before, like Labor Day weekend
Hmm.
with teal season and Diddy's, but I might look at doing it a little bit later. Like even like a late zone, or like a late opener, or an early opener, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Depending on water conditions, we'll see for next year for sure. But
Watch next year we won't even be able to see the sandbars at all on the river.
just be everything will be flooded.
Everything will be flood stage again next year.
I'm gonna update my boat situation. Like, there's a few spots where I'm like, man, if I had a little 14-foot boat, like I'd be good to go. There's a few spots out here that I'm like, I just need to get a real motorboat. Too far to paddle for a kayak and
Mm-hmm.
what have you. But I'm gonna fix that next year too, hopefully.
That's one of the things we're looking at. I think Ryan has a extra John boat laying around. I'm like, you should let me know what size that thing is, and let's get a mud motor and put it on there. If it's like a 14-footer, just something to zip
Mm-hmm.
around in, carry gear. I was actually just
Yep.
thinking about that the other day, and I texted him, and because we've talked about it for a long time, and it'd just be something extra to add in there if you need something to haul decoys in. It'd be perfect. So we're
Yeah,
also doing that same kind of thing.
even if you're doing a walk-in hunt or a kayak hunt, you get one guy with a light motorboat that, you don't have the kayaks bogged down, or guys
Mm-hmm.
walking in bogged down with gear. You just zip it in there. I've been wanting to do that ever since 2018, when everything was flooded and we didn't have access to boat ramps. I'm like, I need a motorboat that I can throw off like the bed of the truck.
I really want a county line. That is,
County line. What's
yeah,
that?
they're like a layout style boat. They're an aluminum layout style boat. They're not cheap, but if you can get one with like a surface drive on it, a small like 18 horsepower surface drive, that's eventually I could see myself doing one of them.
Yeah. I'm probably looking at a tracker topper, like either a 14 or a 12. I've been thinking 14 lately. Tracker topper 14 with like a PPF wood duck or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, those PPFs are great mud motors. We had them on our layout boats that we used before getting back into our John boat that we just bought. But well, should I transition? I think your mic's still muted.
You're right.
Oh, I
It
was gonna
was
say
muted.
I was watching Zach talk over there, and, and nothing's coming across. I'm like, either my headphones took a crap, or
No,
you still hit the
it
mute.
was my mic.
So what are your upcoming plans then for waterfowl? Do you have anything in mind, or?
This week I think I got 2 deer tags to fill by the end of the weekend, so I'm gonna
Okay.
probably hit muzzleloader hard, and then I'll buckle down on the ducks. And I've got quite a bit more deer hunting planned too, but yeah, for right now, I think I'm going to probably just do muzzleloader deer and see if I can get some more venison. We're almost out in freezer, and I got a new freezer to fill up, so
Nice.
I'll probably do that. What about you for this weekend?
I think we're gonna try, and I'm gonna scout tomorrow night, or Friday night. I don't know. I got invited on a goose hunt for Friday, but I don't think I can swing that with work. But
Right.
gonna try and get out Saturday at least, and then Sunday we'll probably scout Saturday night for Sunday. See if we can find a feed or something. I think it's gonna freeze up early this year around here, which I would not be opposed to.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if it did, considering the fact it's mid-October and we're getting snow on the ground already. Plus, with how shallow everything is, I would not be surprised if it freezes up.
Yeah.
early.
And like we were just talking a couple days ago, we just got done with our North Dakota hunt, and a lot of the water up there is freezing right now. I mean, all the little potholes and stuff that we were hunting, probably 90% of it right now has ice on it just because of the temperatures up there.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense though. Yeah.
Yeah. It
That's
was
crazy.
cold by the time we left. North Dakota is a completely different cold than Iowa. I mean, it's got some sting to it.
Does it really?
Yeah.
I would love to go up there.
It is an experience, that's for sure. We were lucky enough to talk with some great farmers and landowners and got us on some ground, and it was an incredible hunt. I mean, we shot
Nice.
127 birds in a week, and we should have shot a lot more. I mean, I made some mistakes on uh, not hunting spots at a certain time, and I messed up a giant snow goose jump shoot because got my head a little bit too high. I'll have to show you the footage on that, but it was a learning experience, and I missed one of our really good hunts too, not bringing my camera. And you know what? It part of it was I was just up there because it was a lifelong dream for me to go hunt that area, and I just enjoyed it. But definitely won't be doing that again for not bringing my camera. That is.
Yeah, I think sometimes as hunters, especially when you have a YouTube channel, it's kind of nice to be able to just hunt sometimes, not worry about the filming. And I've been doing that a little bit more. Like if you noticed my channel, I haven't posted much in the last few months. I just been, again, some of it's busy, but some of it's just been like enjoying what I love rather than
Mhm.
worrying about the cameras so much. Getting back into filming some too. But yeah, it's good to just hunt sometimes rather than film.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's
But
nothing wrong with that.
one of the hunts that we were on, I honestly didn't think there was any way we were gonna shoot more than 5 or 6 ducks. We ended up shooting 21. It was like, I missed that boat just a little bit.
Yeah, no kidding. So, if you guys, the listeners, haven't gathered so far, Colton went up to North Dakota with some friends this last week.
Yeah.
It's only been just this last week, right?
Well, yeah. So we're recording this on what is it, Wednesday the 21st,
Mm-hmm.
and we left on the 9th. We drove through the night. Well, TJ and Braden drove through the night. We took 2 trucks. One had a trailer with it. We scouted all day on Saturday, which was the 10th, and then hunted from the 11th through. Well, that's another thing is I couldn't hunt on Sunday because I messed up my license on accident. So I hunted through the
Oops.
17th, and then the other guys had hunting access until the 18th. So,
I see. What did you do? How did you mess up your license? Was it like a 1 week thing? 1 week license or what?
it's 2 7-day licenses, and in my head, I did 11 plus 7, and would get me to 18. And I'm an idiot, so
Wow.
I sat in the truck on Sunday morning. They just did a quick hunt on our fun little levee we found, our levee shoot place, and it was all right. I mean, I finished up packing up some stuff and made sure everything was good to go for our trip, and it was fine. I mean, it stunk to miss out, but hey, that's part of it. It was my mistake. I wasn't going to sit down there and hunt with them illegally. Obviously, you don't want to do anything illegal. And
Right.
yeah, I mean, it was good though. It was an intense trip. I was exhausted, to say the least. Winds were nuts. I mean, you're hunting, if you're not hunting in at least 10 to 15 mile an hour winds, like that's on the light side. Most of the times we were 20 to 40 mile an hour winds up there and no cover. I mean, you are taking that wind right in the face. I mean, it's nuts.
That's brutal. But it looks like it paid off for you. Must have been birds moving.
Just a
How's
few.
how's that? So how's that like? You never hunted North Dakota, but have you hunted duck hunted anywhere else out of state? Really?
No, no, this was my first time.
What's it like compared to Central Iowa? Like like how there's almost there's a normal hunt flow to Central Iowa. Like you kind of
Mhm.
know about how many ducks you're gonna see. You kind of know when they're gonna be moving. Like, did they move later in the day? Just you must have been seeing tons more ducks, right?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So one of the things we joked about, it's like anytime you're out driving down the road, it's not uncommon to see 10 to 20 birds like within your drive. In a 30-minute drive, you'll see 10 or 20 birds. Like we drive past spots that had like 20 or 30 birds on it, and we didn't even think about hunting it just because we had other spots we were scouting. you know. Um,
Yeah.
the ducks flew all freaking day. I mean, when we hunted, we were there pretty much all day. We'd pack sandwiches in the truck. We'd walk back, take a little bit of a break, and then walk back out to our blinds. I mean, we hunted all freaking day when we could for ducks. Geese is a little bit different out there. You can only afternoon hunt geese on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Otherwise, you're cut off at 1 p.m. So we had one afternoon duck goose shoot that was fun. And other than that, we had one other day of geese in the morning, which was on Sunday, and we shot 13 that day, but we got our asses handed to us. I mean, we started out in one spot. We ended up moving the blinds about 50 yards off to our east, trying to play the wind. We moved decoys around like 4 or 5 times, and we ended up with 13, but that doesn't seem very good when the limit is, 32? So 8 per person.
Yeah.
We had 4 guys up there. I mean, granted, it was nice to shoot 13 geese, but we just got it absolutely handed to us, and I couldn't shoot worth a crap. If you watch my video on Chasing Iowa Outdoors, you will see me miss a goose point blank range, and it is terrible. But I try to be
I'm
real with
so
my
excited
hunts.
to watch that now.
Yeah. I had a few mess ups on my week this week, but
So, what was the license cost difference for non-resident? Would it cost you for licensing and all that stuff up there? What did you pay for?
so there's 2 different types of licenses with North Dakota. You can do a zoned license or you can do a statewide license. For us, since we did not know what in the world we were getting into, we did a statewide license, which was $180. So that'll include everything you need. That is 2 14-day, or sorry, not 2 14-day, 2 7-day hunts. If you'd like to do it that way, you can split up those hunts if you want to. So if I wanted to go early and then later, you have the option to do that, which is pretty cool. And then
Sure.
there's another, the zoned hunts. I wanted to say it was like $130 or $140, but we did just a statewide because we wanted the opportunity. If we couldn't find birds, we were going to travel. So that's how we did that.
And I guess if you're paying $140, $180 isn't that much more, really.
No.
Um,
And I found a super cheap Airbnb. It was $24 a night for a 2-bedroom place.
wow, that
Dude,
is super cheap. That is extremely cheap.
I know. I thought it was. I was waiting to pull up and get stuff stolen from me.
Did it
and
have
all.
indoor plumbing?
Yeah, it did.
Electricity?
Yeah, all
Wow.
it was all electricity. You had running water. You had heat. We had a kitchen. I mean, it was great. Um,
$24.
it was pretty freaking sweet. I mean, I think I did the trip for maybe $400, $500 between fuel. We split fuel in one of the trucks 3 ways with the trailer. So that was the expensive one. And then food. I mean, you got beer. You're spending just as much money on ammo as you are everything else. I mean, we went through a lot of ammo. And
Oh, I bet.
TJ and Braden, they came up with like 75 shells a piece. And they went through it like the second day. I was like, you guys are going to have to find some more ammo. So we ended up running to town a couple times and getting ammo, but it was awesome. They were like, we'd much rather have to get ammo while we're out here than not shoot through what we got. So I was like, all
Oh,
right,
definitely.
however you want to
Is it
float.
is it like I've never even been to the state of North Dakota. Is it like you go up there and everything's catered to waterfowl hunters? Like if you go up fishing in Northwoods, every gas station is a tackle shop. Is it that kind of thing where it's like you buy steel shot all over the place and buy decoys all over? And is it
Uh,
like a waterfowl's paradise?
Not really. I mean, the local place in town that we found, they had stuff where, I mean, we were our closest big place was probably 35, 40 minutes away that had like a Walmart to it. And
Mm-hmm.
so there was a local place there that you could get like some more expensive food. They had steel shot, but they didn't have a bunch of like decoys and all that. That was in the big town. So, I mean, it wasn't that bad, but by the time you do a 45-minute trip one way, you're talking an hour and a half to 2 hours by the time everything's all said and done to get to town and back.
Right.
I mean, it was awesome. The people up there were great. There's some people obviously that don't like out-of-state hunters. That's understandable, especially this year with COVID and Canada being closed. There's a lot more hunters up there than what there probably would be. I was looking at some statistics where the licensings were up like 300%, I think is what they were, 200 to 300%. So that's the thing too, is I really hope this year does not ruin it for the years to come and the generations to come, because
Mhm.
I mean, all the people, well, I think I only got turned down permission once.
That's not bad.
I mean, and that was just for, I mean, we had once or twice, but we got really lucky too. Like one of the guys we ran into on the first day, we were headed back to go to a gas station, and we just bumped into this guy, and he was fantastic. I mean, he got us on his property. He's like, yeah, if you want to hunt it throughout the week, that's fine. And then we had some other people, we were trying to find the farmer or the landowner. And I would just text him, say, hey, do you know this person? He goes, well, I think I know who farms this. Let me get you their number. And he'd get me permission, say, hey, if you need anything else from this person, here's their number. I was like, okay, perfect. Their
Right.
hospitality was great. There was one of them that I walked up to, and there's a spot we hunted twice. We shot, let's see, 45 ducks out of there, and walked up to his house, and he was pretty much telling me yes before I even said anything. He walked out as I was walking up to his doorway, and I said, hey, we're looking at waterfowl hunting over here. And he goes, yep, that's fine. I was like, okay, perfect.
That's crazy. You would never hear that in like in Iowa for deer hunting or turkey hunting.
No.
I
And
feel
and
like
and deer hunting up there, that's its own thing too. I mean, we didn't mess with any of that. But
right.
most of them, they're like, as long as you're respectful, and I always went and I approached it. I was never wearing camo when I went up and asked the landowner. I mean, I would have a camo hat. That's it. I had my hat. But just go up there, say, hey, this is what we're doing. Get their phone number too is another big thing. That way you can just call them or text them and say, hey, thanks, or whatever else. I mean, one of the guys that we had really good luck with, actually got him a gift card just because he helped us so much. I mean, he made our trip. And
Sure.
it's just cool. I mean, and we talked to some other hunters, and some people were guided in that area, and some of them were out freelancing snow geese, which was really cool. We didn't talk to them too much. There were some Minnesota guys. They didn't look very happy to see us, so we didn't talk to them. That might just be Minnesota people. I don't know.
Well,
I might offend somebody here, but um, no, it was great, and it was an exciting trip. I think we'll be back next year. I would love to go back next year, and yeah, I that area is incredible. All the
yeah.
potholes. I mean, they have ponds the size of lakes around here and bigger. I mean, you pull up and it's just a massive freaking lake, and it looks like a little pond on Google Maps. It's nuts.
What's the vegetation situation like out there? Is it mostly cattails? You got a lot of smartweed. Did you run into a bunch of cockleburs like you do here, or what's the
Uh,
veg like out there?
hardly any cockleburs.
That's
Most of it around the ponds is cattails, very tall cattails. I mean, we did it one of our hunts. It was in the afternoon, and we just sat in the reeds and shot a couple birds that way. We did an A-frame one day in cattails. We shot 24 that day with that, and that was really slow. That was a bad hunt. That was one of the spots where we should have hunted it earlier in the week. But I was trying to save it for two buddies that were coming up later in the week, so that was my mistake with that. I mean, it was loaded with greenheads. We went from having 3,000 mallards in this one little spot all week, and then 2 days before we hunted it, went down to about 1,000. And the night before is only 200 and some birds, and then they were pretty much gone from there. So we shot the crap out of some not blue wing, some green wing teal, and some mallards.
If the mallards don't play, the green wings are gonna pay.
Dude,
Uh,
I'm not afraid of shooting them little suckers. I love I
me
love
neither.
hunting them, but
I'll take a mixed bag over greenheads any day. Not that I have anything against greenheads, but I like a mixed bag.
that's the crazy part is, let me pull this up. I had a species list of one of the hunts that we did at what we call Big Al's Mud Hole. Was the nickname. It was a good
Uh,
nickname for it.
that's a great
Um,
nickname.
let's see. I had this up here. I don't know where it went. I mean, you saw some of the pictures that we had.
Oh yeah,
One of the
absolutely destroyed
days,
them.
I mean, we shot greenheads, we shot gadwalls, we shot the crap out of gaddies. Redhead, canvasback, shoveler, teal, ruddy duck. What else do we shoot? Snow goose. I'm just looking at the picture right here. Bufflehead and widgeon. Yeah.
That's nice that she got like the mixed bag of divers in there too with the redheads and canvasbacks.
Oh, dude, we shot 2 or 3 bull cans while we were up there. Beautiful birds.
Jeez. I'd love
Um,
to get one of those things.
we shot the crap out of pintails too. I mean, it's only one a day up there, but
Yeah.
there was one hunt where we had to be very selective after shooting 2 of them, because they that was the most pintails I've ever seen in my life up there.
Oh, I believe it. So the birds are working in all day. So you get up. I mean, did you still get up like, at the ass crack of dawn like what we do here? Or is it like,
Um,
yeah, they're going to work all day, so you go in a little bit later?
It was a mixture of both. Like one of the hunts that we did, we knew we were bumping them off a roost pond. And so we got in there at like 3:00 and bumped them off, got all set up and ready to go. Most days though, we left probably by 4:30ish to go out and hunt. I mean, so not terrible at all.
Sure.
But I mean, when you're doing it day in, day out like that, it gets really, really tiring.
Oh, I don't
But
blame you.
it
There's
was
no way I'd be getting up at like 1, 2 like I normally do to go
no.
duck hunting.
No, if you do that 2 days, that's fine. But we were so windburnt. My allergies were kicking my butt. I mean, I could not breathe. After the second day, I had to go get Claritin. That cleared me up. And being out of shape. That's one of the things too that I'm working on. I told myself once I got back from this trip that it was time to get back into working out and eating better again. So 'cause
Nice.
that's the thing. I mean, you go from carrying in duck hunting stuff or goose hunting stuff. It's amazing how much that can take a toll on you.
Oh, it's the litmus test. It'll tell you exactly how in shape you are or not. Like
Yeah.
it's brutal.
Yeah. Two
Um,
years ago, I was in the best shape I've probably been in my life. And I have gone severely downhill with that within the last year and a half.
I
But
hear you.
it really it's packed up and I don't like it. So it'll be something for sure by if not the end of this hunting season, by next hunting season, I'll be back in shape to where I can do what I want to do. But
Nice. That'll always make the hunting easier too.
oh my gosh, it
Um,
makes it so much more enjoyable.
so you were mostly on private ground up there, it sounds like. Did you do any public? Like what was that like?
I'm trying to remember. I do not. Well, we had one public piece we hunted that we called the levee. It was our backup plan. It was a levee shoot. Basically, it was a big pond. There were 2 ponds off the side, and there was a rock line right there. And so we would just tuck down in the rock line off the side of the road, off the road, obviously. But you could tuck down in there where you were legal, and we'd pass shoot birds, and it was awesome. They would literally come right over top of us. And it was always a good backup plan. We probably shot 20 birds out of that spot over the week. I mean, it was fun.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean, that was pretty much all of the public we did. There is a lot of public land up there. I would highly recommend a kayak or something if you're going up there with just 1 or 2 people to get out on some of the bigger water that's public, because you could get out to like an island and just pound the heck out of them. But we had 4 guys during the main part of the week, and I was not going floating out there in a jet sled.
I don't blame you. Did you see a lot of people out on public land there? I mean, if you're hunting private, I'm guessing you guys were probably the only ones with permission, but I don't know if when you were hunting on public or you drove past it, if there's a lot of people there like there is here.
No, I mean, it was mostly spaced out. I think throughout the week, if you had somebody within 5 miles of you, that was pretty rare. We had maybe 2 times or 3 times where we had more than 2 groups within 5 to 10 miles of us. I mean, that's just the amount of space and land that they have there for hunting opportunities is incredible. I mean, you saw guys
Sure.
rolling by with kayaks and stuff, which were taking advantage of those big public pools. But most of those landowners, if you go ask them, they're going to tell you, yes, you can hunt it.
That's
At
awesome.
least in our area.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would like to do that. Like when I've looked at the Onyx maps, the satellite imaging of North Dakota, you just kind of zoom in on it, and it's just like all of it's just pockmarked with marsh. Like all of it is just duck hunting.
Yeah.
So it'd be crazy. A lot of like eastern South Dakota's like that too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think South Dakota is harder to get into as a non-resident. It's like a draw system or something.
Yeah, it is a lottery system for that. And I can honestly see North Dakota going to a lottery system as well, especially after this year. I mean, just to protect their resource.
Yeah. On the upside, I know you mentioned earlier about like you hope that it doesn't affect the resources, how many more people are out hunting because of COVID, but I would like to think that they'll wisely use all those extra license dollars to like put it back into the habitat,
Yeah.
make it pay off is what I'd like to think, but we'll see if that plays out.
I would like to think so, but I'm just more worried about people not doing things the right way and ruin it for everybody else is what I'm
Yeah.
more concerned about. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, it'd be great if all those conservation dollars went right back in, but I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
It's not for a lack of habitat up there because there's plenty of habitat and places you can hunt. I'm just really hoping that everybody does their job of picking up shells, picking up all their trash. Don't leave a bunch of tire marks in landowners' fields. I mean, because that's the big thing. You got to respect those landowners. That's what's
Yeah.
really going to make it bad. Because in North Dakota right now, if the property is not posted, so in the corner of their property, if it's marked anywhere as posted, you cannot hunt it. But if it's not posted, it's open and fair game for you to go hunt it. We didn't really run into too much of that in our area. Almost all the stuff that we saw had been posted, and there was more posted from when I was up there scouting in August than what it was when I was up there. Now there's a lot more posted ground, but I think majority of it is people just want to know who's on their ground so that you can put a name to a face and gunshots. And I mean, that's ultimately the big thing. But anybody we talked to, they were happy to have us there. We ate at the local place there once or twice, and they just acted like we'd known them for a long time. Hey, where are you from? Blah, 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 blah. It was great.
That's awesome. I wonder if that maybe made it a little easier to get access. Is that if people like normally you can just waltz onto someone's land if they don't post, maybe it's just like simply asking them, made it more easy to get permission. That's why they're more willing to say yes, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think, initial impressions going up and just way you handle yourself. And like I said, don't be wearing a bunch of camo expecting to get on there right away. I mean, just respect that's their property. Go in there, make sure you have everything put together. If you're wanting to get permission on a spot that's not right there by their house or whatever, know exactly where that piece is at, or at least have it ready on your map to show them. Say, hey, this is where I'm looking at. We're going to be here for the week. If we get permission on it, we'd really appreciate it. And I mean,
Yeah.
we had great luck.
So when you started out the hunt plan, like you're thinking of going to North Dakota and you got it all planned out, did you have leads on like private places to hunt first, or did you have to like kind of go up there and fly by the seat of your pants on it?
We flew by the seat of our pants. I literally went on Google Maps. I found a spot that I thought looked really cool from satellite maps, and
Nice.
then booked the place. And we got up there on Saturday, scouted our butts off, and found some ground and got permission.
Nice. I think what's the big famous place up there? Devil's Lake. How far were you from that? Or do you know?
Yeah, don't go there.
Don't go there.
Not as wanting to get on, because a lot of that's leased up or just privately owned with people that hunt. So
Yeah.
we were not in that area.
I think that's probably the famous. Like I bet that's more shoulder to shoulder in there. There's probably more unwilling landowners there to let you hunt and stuff. Just because that place is the really famous area.
Yeah, and I mean, it's leased up with people getting guide services and making a lot of money off of this. I mean, these people didn't expect anything from us in regards to, financial piece. We didn't offer any money. The one guy we gave a gift card to was just because we honestly appreciated everything that he did for us. And he goes, you really don't have to give that to me. And I go, yeah, we're going to. I mean, you don't understand how much this means to us as out-of-state hunters. I said, people like you make this stuff possible for us to live what we've always dreamed about. And it was really cool. He's like, yeah, and if you guys ever come back up and want to go coyote hunting or whatever, let us know. And it's like, holy cow. Awesome. I mean, you just got your foot in the door with an incredible person. Him and his wife were great.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it gives them a good impression of hunters as well. Yeah. Like, maybe secures you some access for the next time as well. And yeah, that's good that it panned out like that.
Yeah, it's probably just because I have a baby face. He felt bad. He felt bad for me and wanted to let me hunt his ground.
That's probably it. But yeah, I'll let a kid hunt.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I mean, if you're looking for an opportunity to go and freelance something, I mean, yeah, you can go and you can pay for a guide service and everything else and probably shoot more birds than what we did. But it was something about rewarding yourselves with your own scouting, your own hunting, your own decisions that made it really, really worthwhile. I mean, it was a incredibly memorable trip for me. Like I said, it's something I've always wanted to do. I've dreamed about it for years, and it finally happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with what you're saying on you get a little bit more out of it when you kind of do it yourself.
Hmm.
Um, the hunting trips that I kind of think of doing in the future, I'm like, man, that would be a lot. I back and forth on taking a guide, but it's like, man, it'd be a lot cooler to just kind of do it ourselves,
Yeah,
freelance it. You know?
and it depends on the situation too. Like if I were to go big game hunting, I know that's one of the things that you and I have talked about. I mean, that might be a little bit different story. Yeah, it'd be super rewarding, but it's also a lot more expensive. I looked at it as okay,
Yeah,
this is not a very expensive trip for me to go on. If we shoot 50 birds, that's great. Well, we end up shooting close to, 130. I mean,
right. Yeah, big game. I would probably take a guide out the first time.
yeah.
But like I listen to guys like the Hunting Public and stuff like that. They talk about they had some episodes about big game hunting out west and like
Hmm.
how cheap you can make doing that. They make it so like an average blue collar person could go elk hunting out west every year if you play your cards right. But like being from Iowa, I think the first time out it wouldn't be advisable necessarily to just go and hot dog it in the mountains by myself, get eaten by a bear, or fall down the face of a mountain, not know how to hunt. I
Yeah.
don't know, but I would like to do a North Dakota trip and do it freelance. I think that'd be fun. Some kind of a duck trip up there. Just because again looking at Google Maps, I've seen so much habitat. I think there'd be a lot of places to go and scout and look at and give it a shot.
And that's the crazy part too. I mean, you look at it on maps and you're like, holy cow, that's a lot. Well, then you get there in person and you are just completely overwhelmed. Like it it's some of the most beautiful country I've ever seen in regards to hunting for waterfowl. I mean, it's potholes and potholes and potholes and big lakes and potholes and fields and oh man. I mean,
That's like there's something about those like cattail lined potholes that's like
mhm.
that is duck hunting to me, especially if you can hit that like in a snowstorm. I've only gotten it, maybe once ever in my life, but it's like something out of a dream. Like when
Yeah,
it's you get those potholes, it's surrounded by cattails, you're tucked in tight, the birds are landing in,
yeah,
snowstorm, or whatever, it's cold front. Because here in Iowa, we've got a lot of smartweed and cockleburs and willows and stuff like that. We don't have as much of the cattails, which is excellent cover. I would love to go up there in a kayak, like you mentioned, do a kayak thing and just be able to tuck back into cattails and
yeah. And that's the other
shoot
thing
them
too.
up.
Like the water levels were very low this year, so
Mm-hmm.
some of the spots we hunted, I mean, typically there would be more water there. Well, a lot of them that way were, but some of that mud, holy shit! I tell you what, I got my workout in.
You guys some pretty brutal stuff up there.
Oh, dude, there was one morning we were walking in. It was a late morning that we were going and getting set up on the spot, and we drug the four-wheeler in there a ways and dropped off stuff. And I went to go walk down what I thought was just a dried up, little creek bed. All of a sudden, I mean, it's drier than dry. It looks like, and I start walking in it, and all of a sudden I'm up to my knees in crap smelling. I can't even describe the smell, but just the crappiest smelling, muddy, grassy, decaying crap hole all the way up to my knees. I'm like, oh crap, here we go.
That sucks,
Yeah.
man. So they had drought up there too. Then
Yes. Yeah. They were super, they had a lot of rain during the spring. They were very wet this spring, but they have been very dry since then.
did you run into an issue where like the water was really far from the shoreline cover?
There was one of the spots that we did that was probably like 10 yards, 15 yards, so it wasn't terrible. There are places out there, though, where it is a little bit further away on some of those smaller pothole areas. Yeah, that is something that we did run into a little bit.
Yeah.
The other crazy thing was on the last day, we were sitting there after their hunt, just talking, and we had a guy that was moving some cattle around. He came up and talked to us for probably half hour, 45 minutes, just kind of shooting the shit. And he goes, yeah, last year on the 9th, we had 26 inches of snow. I'm like, oh my goodness. We had gotten like 3 inches, 4 inches while we were up there, but that was about it.
Yeah. Here in Iowa, we got just a few inches in October and we're losing our minds, 26 inches of snow on the 9th.
Yeah. He was talking about how they were out calving and everything just went to shit.
You could get 26 inches of snow in Iowa at any point in January and we would be beside ourselves.
I can't even imagine. I mean, some of those farmers up there, you can just tell they weren't able to pick their fields. And another thing that surprised me is there's a ton of sunflower patches up there, which was interesting.
Wonder if the dove hunting would be good up there too.
I don't know. Whenever we were there, it was too freaking cold. I can tell you that.
I've never gotten into dove hunting, but people like it.
I can hardly shoot ducks and geese. I can't even imagine trying to shoot a freaking dove.
It would be silly. I would be very frustrated. I'm sure at the attempt of trying to shoot doves. Man.
But I mean, now that's all over, I'm ready for Iowa, and it's not going to be anything like North Dakota. I was telling you last night when we tried to record this the first time, I am at more birds than I shot last year already this year, and that's kind of depressing.
Right. No, that's incredible though. Like that was like an awesome trip. I mean, every day Colton was sending me these pictures, and I'm sitting here on the struggle bus in Iowa. Colton's sending me these pictures where they just smacked the piss out of these birds. I mean, trailer chock full of geese and then just a ducks all stacked up. Tons of birds. It looked like a really, really great trip. Iowa's going to be tough. Iowa's always tough. Like the one thing I'll say about being a central Iowa duck hunter, and I like to specify central Iowa because I feel like if you're on the Mississippi River in Iowa or even the Missouri, like you're probably not having a bad time.
No,
but being a central Iowa duck hunter, yeah. I mean, like especially the Mississippi. Like I went up to Mississippi, Northeast Iowa, and I'm like, yeah, I could see how people would do really well up here.
Oh, definitely.
But Northeast or Central Iowa is tough. You are really, really at the mercy of water levels more so than many places. You're not in a main migration corridor. We don't really manage for ducks here that well. We used to be part of the prairie pothole region, but 97% of our marshes were drained for
agricultural purposes.
Agriculture, which is brutal. Like to think that central Iowa and north central would have been like North Dakota, but it was all drained for ag. But either way, if you're a central Iowa duck hunter, like it just separates the men from the boys. Like you really can't be like super whiny and picky and still duck hunt in Iowa.
Yeah.
Like you've got to love duck hunting to be a hardcore central Iowa duck hunter.
I mean, there's some really good spots around where we're at and where we hunt. It's just a matter of finding them and getting to them is another thing as well. But I mean, that's part of it.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's part of the journey, and it's why we love it, even though it kicks our butts sometimes.
It helps when Mother Nature cooperates with you. We do have some good spots. Like there's, like I said, there's a few that are around right now that are loading up, and it's just Mother Nature's just gonna make it tough on us this year.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some rain in the forecast, and which would be much needed. We need the lake to come up probably 2 or 3 feet right now.
Yeah, we need to get quite a bit. So I'm hoping that the rain is significant that we get.
It probably won't be.
No, probably not.
That's how 2020 is going for us. Just one letdown after another. It's going to be 70 degrees here tomorrow and then 39 on Friday.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So it's going to be brutal. I I think we'll be able to scratch some out though later in the season.
I hope it freezes up early here, and then we have the opportunity to go out and field hunt some birds, because that is really what I want to do. Field hunting ducks. Oh man, it's sick.
Yeah. I would like to get into some more field hunts, especially, well, ducks too, but for geese, like I want to shoot some geese.
Yeah. I grew up as a water hunter for ducks, but field hunting geese has taken a special place in my heart. And yeah. And I started shooting some new shells too. So I'm excited about those.
What you shooting?
I went and bought
CR.
I went and bought a case of Boss. That's the other thing too with the Boss. It's 200 rounds, not 250. I don't like that.
For a case?
In a case.
What do you, how is it for the hype? Like, you know, they're really, really well hyped, but are they up to snuff, or what do you think?
If I could hit fuck all, I'd kill a lot more. I mean, if I actually line up my shot and hit my shot, it's pretty darn cool. One of the guys,
they hit.
Yeah, one of the guys, Braden. I mean, he stone cold some birds that were just freaking nuts. I mean, if you're actually taking the time, line up your shot, making a good shot, these shells will blow birds up. I mean, it's pretty darn impressive, to say the least. I'm a believer in it. I just need to work on my shots so that me actually shooting them is worthwhile.
Right.
What I should do is I should put in a crappy shell first, put in a Boss shell that as second, and then a crappy shell as my third one, because my second shot is typically where I hit something if I'm going to hit something.
There you go. And then you'll know if it's better or not.
Yeah.
I got my shooting range set up at my place. You should come out and shoot some clays.
I might have to this weekend. I'm not sure what you're doing, but I might have to do that. I got 4 boxes of clays.
Yeah. I've got a couple that are sitting around in the barn, and yeah, I don't know. Just shoot me a message if you want to. I'm all good with it.
Definitely.
So I'll be in and out. I'll be around deer hunting. But
are you deer hunting around your place there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yep, just public ground around. I found a bean field that's like hard for anyone. It's public, but it's hard for anyone else to access. But because of where I live, I've got easy access to it.
Gotcha.
So it's just kind of catty corner to my place. I don't want to give away all my access secrets to it, but
you're not going to drop a pin.
I might be hunting that. No, I might be hunting that. I did deer hunt Sunday night and saw some at a spot. So yeah, we'll see. We get some deer in the freezer, and then I'll go balls out for ducks for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some late. I'm gonna do some late muzzleloaders. Kind of my plan. Get a doe in the freezer. There, I'm really not into the deer hunting anymore. I really enjoy.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the waterfowl side. So
I like the waterfowl much more than deer hunting. This year's just kind of upside down, and it's kind of pissed me off a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm gonna enjoy the deer hunting a little bit more. I'm gonna maybe hunt a couple other things, but I'm gonna go hard on the waterfowl for late season. After this weekend, I'm gonna start doing what I usually do, which is hunting 3 days a week, and hard and doing the whole 9 yards and make the best out of this year.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, we're coming up here pretty much on time.
All right.
So I think we should probably go ahead and wrap this one up. I think my connection's cutting out now again too. Is it still laggy?
No, I can hear you.
All right, cool. Well, yeah. I think next time we'll dive into some more duck hunting content, maybe some tips and tricks. We'll also catch up, see if you got any deer from this next week, this upcoming week, and get back on a regular upload schedule, as we said we were going to do 3 months ago, and we never did.
We did promise people a lot of waterfowl content, and really, as much as we both love waterfowl hunting, we should just do it. So I think, like I said, our schedules were crazy, and I'm starting to kind of regulate it out a little bit more. So we should be able to get back to more of a regular upload schedule. Maybe get some guests on and what have you.
Definitely.
So, yeah,
definitely. There's going to be a lot of good things coming for this podcast. It's been a little bit of time coming, but we mean it when we say we're going to get back to it this time. We're back on normal schedules. We're getting settled in. It's gonna be a good time. So, and also make sure to check out our YouTube channels. Zach, my just internet went unstable again. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Zach is at Deeply Driven Outdoors on YouTube. I am Colton. I am at Chase and Iowa Outdoors on YouTube. Go check out our content. We've got a lot of stuff that we're going to be releasing. I know, Zach, you said you got a video coming soon.
Yeah, be premiering tomorrow at 6. It's like I said, I've been a little bit behind on my videos by quite a bit, so it's going to be the second installment of my Northeast Iowa trip, and then I'm going to start putting out some duck content.
Sweet. Yeah, and if you guys want to go see me completely whiff on a goose on my North Dakota trip is up on the Chase and Iowa Outdoors YouTube channel. It's a great missed shot. I about throw my gun into the ground on that one.
I'm looking forward to watching it. It's gonna be good.
Cool. All right. Well, hey, thanks everybody for tuning into the HF&O podcast, and we will see you next time.